the buyer or the supplier of the oil brings somebody who buys the gold in dollars, if I got the explanation right.
Yes.
And then gives us the diesel that we are looking for. In this arrangement, are there any extra costs to the state, or these are costs that are completely taken up by the oil, the person who is supplying the oil? And by that, I mean the transportation of the gold, the storage of the gold, the brokerage and selling of the gold until we actually get dollars in our escrow.
There is no any extra cost to the state. So we buy the gold. The gold is assayed by the Precious Minerals Mining Company. And then the gold broker takes delivery of the gold from Ghana. And they
at
pay
his cost, at the gold broker's cost.
Yes. They pay all the cost of transportation, everything. So there's no extra cost to Ghana.
Okay.
No extra cost to Ghana.
Let me take you back to, the top of the conversation. You mentioned that this was a test run and that there were a few lessons you had learned. Can you just share a few lessons, especially in light of whether or not how this transaction played out will get somebody to sell the gold on our behalf, whether you just what are the lessons you've learned, and whether or not we'll see a lot more of this than the barter and all of that. Can you just share a few of the things that government has learned and how it plans to fine-tune the process going forward?
Well, very soon, Boss is going to take delivery of another cargo coming from a company which doesn't provide a gold broker, but is taking the gold directly. Very soon, they will take delivery of a cargo from a company. I can give you the name of the company, Winvestnet. I'm sorry, I don't have your permission to mention it. But let me just mention it for the sake of the record. Winvestnet, they are ready, and they supply oil to many Middle Eastern countries, including Dubai, Morocco, Sudan, and they are ready to take the gold direct. In their case, they don't even need a gold broker. So what's going to happen is that they will select a gold refinery of its choice. Then the Bank of Ghana will open a gold metal account in that refinery. And then the company will also open a metal account in that refinery. And when the Bank of Ghana moves the gold to its account.
So that was Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam speaking on the Citi Breakfast Show on Friday. The full interview is online. You can go to our YouTube page and watch the full interview. 8 o'clock. Coming up next is tech and social media trends. What's trending this morning? Brought to you by Vodafone and Cal Bank. Could you give us a quick highlights of that?
Yes, indeed. You can reactivate your Cal Bank account and get more value. Get free access to our short code service, *771#, CalNet, and the Cal Bank app. So call us on 0800 500 500. Cal Bank, forward together. And One Ghana. What can One Ghana do for you, Bernardino?
One Ghana for your pocket.
Chale. Well, with Vodafone, One Ghana can give you 1 gigabyte of data every day between 5 a.m. and 11:59 a.m. and 20 minutes of talk time to all other networks. Just dial *530#. Vodafone, further together.
Okay. So Nathan Kwa is joining us with the segment Tech and Social Media Trends. Good morning, Nathan.
Good morning, Bernard. Very interesting trends out there. The Grammys are trending those who love their entertainment. The Grammys were held last night, and Beyonce walked away with... she now has 32 Grammys in all.
She should just dash me one.
32 Grammys in all, and she made history. Harry Styles won Album of the Year, and all of that happened in Los Angeles. So Beyonce's Grammy haul is now 32. Nice. She beat the record held by Hungarian-British conductor George Solti, whose record was 31 Grammys, and it stood for over 20 years. Kendrick Lamar, in terms of those of us who love rap music, he won the best rap song and the best rap album.
All right.
So The Hard Part 5 was the best rap song, and Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, where that was the album of the year. So that's the lowdown from the Grammys. Other things on the trend, Idris Elba.
He's in Ghana.
Yeah, he's in Ghana. He was in Kumasi over the weekend.
Yeah.
He went to pay homage to the...
He met the president earlier.
Yes.
Yeah, he was in some nice kente.
Charlie, I saw the pictures.
Idris
Lovely,
Elba.
lovely stuff.
Has
Stonebwoy...
he done his historical route? Do you know where he's originally from?
Sierra Leone and Ghana, they
Sierra
said,
Leone and
right?
Ghana. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, Stonebwoy is also trending. Remember, he was part of the Grammy Academy. So
Yeah,
he
yeah.
was at the event. There are pictures of him
No, he's a big man.
saying hi to people.
No, to say Ojinchia.
Yeah, talking to other people, meeting big
No,
boys.
Stonebwoy is
Now,
a big man.
it's also
Big man.
a continuation of his trend from last week. He was
Okay.
on the Breakfast Club in the US. Granted, a very interesting. I've watched that interview. He carried himself very
What
well.
did they ask him?
So just talking about his career, they asked him a few things about the VGMA
He was on the
incident.
Breakfast Club.
Yeah, in the US.
Charlie Stone.
So actually, he met Charlemagne the God in December, and then it looks like that's where they connected, and then
As in the
boom.
rise, remember some of us.
Spoke about his career, his work, all of those things happening.
Charlie.
So those are some of the trends in terms of tech news. Let me give you some very interesting tech news. Now, how many people remember the digital camera?
Digital camera.
Yes.
Yeah, remember the small digital cameras.
Yeah.
Well, some tech reports are saying that they could be making a comeback. Now, search traffic for the old kit online on the online marketplaces like eBay and Etsy is on the rise. And in the past 12 months, videos with the hashtag digital camera have amassed more than 220 million views on TikTok. So you never know. The Digicam might just make a return.
Look, if record players can make a comeback,
Anything
that's
can.
implied anything can come back.
One Ghana, pet. Just one Ghana.
Yo, bro, I beg, make you give me correct shock absorber. Or make I do video concept, then take the Gaussian P for the engine show you.
Yawa Humache. Every morning you the tear calls, they browse. Actually, something they
Hey, Tago, the way town make hot. I grow best one if you no po. If it be you where you get Vodafone one Ghana promo them out 20 minutes talk time to call all networks where you start get data and 1 gig from 5 a.m. to 11:59 a.m. Bye. Anka you go do pass me safe Ankasa. You dial star 530 hash. Make we enjoy. You go fit subscribe as many times as you want.
Yes, plantain chips.
Yo, sweet Ama, take this by Vodafone one Ghana bundle. Moku vibe plus video calls and taste. You catch the vibe. Early morning, 5 a.m. sharp.
Vodafone, further together.
Massa, make what make you go. You need to go to the bank first before we go and pay for the things. Time no day like that too.
Relax. Everything they in my hand inside.
Massa, you need to get the cash.
Forget the cash. See, transfer, payment. I did use the Cowbank app. No stress.
That's slow for me. I still forgo my bank. I don't have account for
I
Cowbank.
say forget the cash. Even without an account at Cowbank, you can download the app, sign up, and connect your mobile money wallet or debit card. And you can make your payments too.
Hey, pa, I just signed up.
Enjoy the convenience, safety, and freedom of the Cowbank app. Whether you have an account with Cowbank or not, all options are open to you, including scan to pay. Download the Cowbank app now. Forget the cash.
Feel like I for just open account for Cowbank.
On the app, no.
Cowbank, forward together.
Cowbank, forward together.
Join the conversation on the
Or is it gold for oil program, which has
or gold for fuel? I think that makes more sense.
Yeah,
than the
gold for fuel.
oil.
Yeah, because it's actually processed
products they are bringing in. The first consignment was diesel.
All right. So the MPA has sent out a release, a 14-point press highlighting certain things. I wanted Sky to go through some of that, and then there was an interesting point the minister raised in your interview with him, where he says about 11 OMCs have failed to reduce their prices. I wonder why. We'll try and get into that. But what is the MPA saying, Sky?
Okay, so basically this is a detailed statement from the Corporate Affairs Directorate of the National Petroleum Authority, explaining in full, as they put it, the implementation of the Gold for Oil program. And it's actually 14 paragraphs in length. And it was issued on Sunday, the 5th of February, 2023, on the letterhead of the National Petroleum Authority. And it commences by saying that the implementation of the government's Gold for Oil G4O program commenced with the arrival of the first consignment of about 40,000 metric tons of diesel on January 15, 2023. Valued at about $40 million US. Now, the prime objective of the program is to use additional foreign exchange resources from the Bank of Ghana's domestic gold purchase program to provide foreign currency for the importation of petroleum products for the country, which currently stands at about $350 million US per month. Now, payment for oil supply is to be done in two channels. By way of barter trade, where gold is exchanged for oil, or via broker channel, where the gold is converted into cash and paid to the supplier. Now, the first consignment of 40,000 metric tons of diesel constitutes about 10% of the country's combined monthly demand for petrol and diesel. Now, the plan is to gradually increase imports under the GOIL, the G4O.
And it's a nice one, GOIL. Gold for oil.
Gold for oil.
AKA GOIL.
Tell us some way. To constitute about 50% of the country's total demand of petrol and diesel by March 2023. That's this year. Now, the implementation of the Gold for Oil program will ease pressure on the dollar, the currency used for the importation of petroleum products, and avoid the occasional increases in petroleum prices resulting from the depreciation of the cedi against the dollar. Now, the program would ensure that the cost of importing the products from international oil traders, The program would ensure that the cost of importing the products from international oil traders will be comparatively cheaper.
Yeah, they made a mistake there.
Yeah, they made a mistake there. So I'm editing that as I go. Now, the consequent reduction in foreign exchange pressures and premiums charged by international oil traders, as well as efficiency gains from the value chain, will lead to lower export prices in the country. So that should be some good news. Now, to ensure that the price of petroleum products imported under the Gold for Oil program reflects at the pumps to benefit the consumer, the National Petroleum Authority, NPA, will regulate the prices of the products in the interim until the volumes increase significantly. There are some legal issues there. Now, the NPA will work with the Bulk Oil Storage and Transportation Company Limited, which is the BOST, to negotiate prices with the international oil traders to ensure that the landed cost of products procured under the program are always competitive. Now, the price at which BOST will sell the products to bulk import distribution and export companies will be approved by the NPA. Now, the price at which the bulk oil distribution and export companies will sell the products to oil marketing companies, which are the OMCs, would also be approved by the NPA. Now, the applicable exchange rate for pricing the products supplied by or under the Gold for Oil program will be based on the average rate at which the gold was purchased from the licensed gold exporters by the BOG, which is the Bank of Ghana. Now, the Bank of Ghana ordinarily purchases the gold aggregated by the Precious Minerals Marketing Company, which is the PMMC. Now, the NPA will put measures in place to ensure that the oil marketing companies that left products supplied under the Gold for Oil program pass the price on to consumers accordingly. Now, in this respect, the BIDECs, which is the bulk import distribution and export companies, and the oil marketing companies, who lift the product and supply. That's a bit tricky.
The sentences are very long.
Very long.
And
basically, what they are saying,
I can understand their struggle because you are trying to break down this technical thing. We haven't seen the policy document yet, and it's almost like you regulate as you go.
Okay, let me attempt to take that again.
Take it again.
What they are saying is that in this respect, the bulk import distribution and export companies and the oil marketing companies who lift the supply who lift and supply gold for oil products will sell at X refinery and export prices that will be determined by the MPA. If there must be a what's that? What word is that?
A commingling.
A commingling of products
supplied
under the.
So, for example, if somebody brings gold for oil and somebody brings their oil directly from a bulk oil distributor, and there's a commingling.
So they are mingling the products.
They will use a weighted average to do it. So maybe 10% gold for oil, 90% regular inflow. They will use a weighted average. So they will then find a way of adding a weight. So if gold for oil price is 10% cheaper than the regular oil, they will use that calculation to determine the effect of the price.
Okay. Yeah. And the final paragraph says all bulk import, distribution, and export companies and oil marketing companies who wish to purchase products under the Gold for Oil program will be required to sign off an undertaking confirming their willingness to comply with the terms and conditions for partaking in the purchase and sale of the Gold for Oil products. And like I stated earlier, it is signed by the Corporate Affairs Directorate. So the crux of the matter is that they are stating that we have received the first consignment of the imports under the program, and it is 40,000 metric tons of diesel. This came in sometime on the 15th of January. There's an outline of what has happened in terms of who is going to regulate the prices. The MPA is coming back in this era of deregulation to intervene with pricing.
The government always, I think they create problems for themselves because, look, globally, every country is trying to understand how to deal with these oil price fluctuations. So it's not just Ghana, okay? So there's nothing wrong with trying to think outside the box to do this barter trade or some version of it. Because now we're told it's not even, now there are two versions of the barter, right? So either direct exchange or broker channel.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that for almost all those countries that are trying to find a way to protect themselves, their budgets around escalating cost of fuel or lack of fuel supply, whether you're a European country and sanctions on Russia and therefore you have to go back to Algeria for gas and all of these things. I'm sure there's a well thought through policy document that has done all the scenarios so that people like us in the media who are supposed to help people even understand this thing could explain it. But what do we see? The idea comes out, some discussion is emerging from the vice president's office. Then there's some interview granted by a couple of people to give it some flesh. Then the first consignment comes out. We see papers in the daily stories in the news dailies giving some we have not even been able to verify. They say, oh, we've brought 40,000. Whether there's 50,000, and we don't know. They just said they brought 40,000. It was in the newspaper, so we accepted it, right? Then they now say, they themselves are saying that, well, the price is not coming down because it's an initial stage. Okay, now I'm not saying everything in Ghana should be discussed for everybody to agree. But there's a very serious, supposedly innovative approach to dealing with the problem we've identified. And the problem identified is that the high amount of money we are paying for petroleum at the pump has more to do with exchange rate losses than with the crude itself or the cost of transportation or taxes. Because every time we talk about reducing fuel prices, when we disaggregate the fuel prices, the part of the fuel price that is caused by exchange rate losses is significant. So one of the reasons why we struggled a lot in October, November was that October was the highest period of exchange rate depreciation for the cedi. So we get the logic, okay? But it's almost like So initially we were told it was bust and what do you call it? The PMMC that would lead the two sides. All right, for which reason they didn't even have to come to Parliament. So it's like we're just lifting oil. We lift oil every day. It's not a new transaction. Now MPA comes in with a 14-paragraph attempt to now explain the rule. And in attempting to do that, they raise a lot more legal questions. So now, yes, they are saying in paragraph 3 that there's a difference between the direct barter or the broker channel, which was something that initially our understanding was that it was direct barter. So when Japan Mesa mentioned about the amount we paid, then the news team said, well, then that means that this is not exactly what you said. Now they are saying there are two ways. Okay, now we are told that 40,000 tons is 10% of the country supply. And then now we are told the MPA will regulate prices of the product in the interim, where we have been stridently told that the petroleum downstream sector is deregulated. And when we ask for the MPA to intervene when prices go up, they say, no, we deregulated it and we've all agreed to do the deregulation. And therefore, we have no role to play in deregulation. But for some reason now, I don't realize because it's gold for oil, or the MPA suddenly realizes that they have powers to regulate. Because we've asked MPA countless times, from Moses Asaga's time, all through, why are you allowing prices to go so high? I say, well, we've deregulated the market. It's a free market. Now you're saying, and in paragraph 9, that to ensure that the price of the petroleum product imported at the G20 reflects at the pump to benefit the consumer, we will regulate. So does your car, which was made in Ghana, differentiate between gold for oil, or oil bought from normal sources? So why are you going to regulate only that one and not other oil prices? Do you get me? So if you go and buy petrol at Total or Gold or Shell, all right? If you go and buy that petrol, does your car know it's good for oil, or does your car not know whether it's good for oil? So why are they regulating only the parts that are applicable to the gold for oil? Is that because that's the one under their control? And they could have saved themselves all of this by releasing a policy document. Let civil society review it, put it out there. We all understand. We ask our questions, and then you move with this. And unless, of course, surprise was part of the strategy, right? Or secrecy is part of the strategy, where it's like there's a competitive market out there for gold for oil. So if we release our strategy, do you get me? Mm-hmm. Here you are now releasing it. Now who's going to explain this thing you've put out for the public to read? How many drivers are going to even read this? Okay, and COPEC, almost all the policy groups don't seem to really agree with this. All right. I mean, I don't doubt that they mean well, but I feel the way they approach this is really, it's almost, they are muddling through. Okay, it's a good idea. Let's do it.
They are making it up as they go.
Yes. You know, they are muddling. So first, initially, they said they were going to do direct barter. They realized that no, it doesn't work like that. So they said we can either do, okay, so why didn't they tell us which percentage of the 40,000 came through direct exchange and which part came through broker channel? Do you get me? So it's I don't know.
As a bit needy.
Yeah, and now they say MPO work with BOST to negotiate prices. So again, this is another point. Paragraph 9 talks about regulation. Paragraph 10 talks about negotiation. All right, so they are regulating prices. Is it at the downstream, and then are they negotiating at the middle stream? You know, so there are 3 paragraphs that require explanation. So with you regulate prices of the product in the interim until the volumes increase significantly. So why will you stop regulation when the volumes increase significantly? Is it because when the volumes become a lot, you can't regulate? Then you work with BOST to negotiate prices with international oil traders to ensure that the landed cost of the products under the program is always competitive. And then the price at which BOST will sell the product will be approved. So I see regulate, I see negotiate, and I see approve. And all has to do with price. What are you doing? Let's talk to Mohammed Abdul Kudus, Communication Manager, MPA. Mohammed, thanks for joining us. I recall when we asked in the past why the ex-pump price of petrol goes up, you and Hassan Tasunti have been saying that it's the exchange rate that leads to the higher prices. So I just want to confirm from before we get into the details that is the exchange rate the most important determinant of the ex-pump price from where the MPA sits?
Thank you so much for having me. But let me consider that I was actually enjoying your discussion because I've been following you since morning. So the exchange rate actually plays a very, very significant. because it has an immediate impact on the whole transaction. And so when the exchange rate fluctuates, it actually has a bearing on the price of the product at the pump. So yes, it is very critical and it is very, very essential. And anything that can actually be put in place to remedy its effect ultimately goes to the good of the consumer of the product at the pump.
Okay. The statement you released, I think the initial part is, we understand it. You said the program has started 15 January, it took a consignment of 40 million metric tons. And then the objective of the program is to use additional foreign exchange resources from the Bank of Ghana to provide foreign currency for the importation of petroleum products. So this is finished products. So far, fair enough. Then you said there are two channels, barter, trade, and then via broker channels. Was this always what the policy, or I don't even want to call it policy, was this always the plan, or did you discover this when you went to the market, that you can either do barter or broker channel?
So, Bernard, essentially, the release of this statement is to help shape the conversation. Right from the discussion, and when the Vice President let out the program in his Facebook page, many have attempted to comment on it, and several questions have actually been asked. So what we intended to do is to help shape the conversation and to give more clarity to what the program is about. From our statement, you realize that agencies are interfacing in having to get this program become a reality. So there's the part that the precious minerals marketing company is playing, there's a part that Boss is playing, there's a part that Bank of Ghana is playing, and there's a part that the National Petroleum Authority is actually playing. So we wanted to have people appreciate and understand the nuance around this whole program. From our end, we have specific duties that we're supposed to play in this whole program. And the issue about whether or not the conversion of the dollar into cash is an afterthought, or is something that came after we went into the market. Obviously, not at all. It has been part of the conversation right from the beginning. And so the policy has envisaged that. And my understanding is that Bank of Ghana already had a certain arrangement of taking care of that. So in the case where a supplier does not require the gold in the form that it is, but wants a conversion of same into dollar, Bank of Ghana has this arrangement that it puts in place, and that particular gold is converted into cash. So whether it is the cash as in the straight butter that we're talking about, or it is in the conversion of it into dollar, the gold still plays a central theme in the transaction. And so it is not an afterthought at all, and it is not something that was discovered after we went into the market. It has always been part of the conversation right from day one of the program.
You use the word policy, so I want to come back to you on that. Which policy are you working with? MPA works with laws, and I'm sure almost all the agencies within this chain work with laws, but those laws have to draw from some policy. So is there a policy document, or what is the overriding policy around this oil for gold program? Is labeled a program? Because I also know that programs come from policies. So the policy is the one that sits on top. So which policy are we working with?
So, like I said, from my narrative, the whole conversation started from a Facebook post of the Vice President. It goes with that. I'm repeating myself that. So this is something that sits with government and the ministry particularly. So if it is about the policy or the program, then the ministry would be speaking to that. Like I alluded to, we have specific roles that we are all playing in this whole program, and NPA has its own a portion of it. So I would be able to speak specifically to the part that NPA plays into, but as in the bigger framework itself, I believe it would be good to speak to.
Okay, but from the little I've heard about this program, there's the PMMC involved, there's the BOST involved, there's the Bank of Ghana involved, and there's the MPA involved. Then there's the OMCs and the BDCs on the private sector side. So there are at least 4 high-level government agencies: the Bank of Ghana, the National Petroleum Authority, the Bulk Oil Storage thing, and then the PMMC. So those are 4 government agencies. Now, you obviously can't be working just based on the vice president's post. There has to be something more substantial than that to lead a Bank of Ghana, an MPA, a BOST, and a PMMC to engage at this level. So are you saying that the vice president just announced it on his post? Or so as MPA, your MPA is taking its marching orders from the post? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, no. MPA actually works under the ministry, right? And the ministry is responsible for the formulation of policies, and MPA is guided accordingly from what the ministry will send out. And that's why I'm saying that on the broader framework of the policy, I'm saying that it would be better you speak to the ministry, because they would be able to speak to that than the MPA. And that's all I'm trying to say. Not that we're working from a
So the MPA does not have a copy of the policy, if there is ever one.
Bernard, let me tread cautiously in speaking to this, because you still are getting me to speak to the policy. Okay, I'm saying.
No, I'm not saying speak to it. I'm saying, is there one? Yeah. I'm not. I'm not saying. I don't know if there's a policy. I'm just asking if there is a policy that MPA is aware of.
I'm aware there's one.
There's a policy. So there's a policy document.
Yes, I'm aware.
But have you seen it? Have you seen it yourself?
Yes, I have. I've cited a copy of that.
How big is it? How many pages is it?
But you're still getting me to go back to the policy. This is the Ministry of Energy's document. I beg you, if you speak to them.
No, you know why? And I'm not trying to push you for a reason, because the MPA is an agency under the Ministry of Energy.
Absolutely.
And definitely, if you say you've seen the policy, yes. I say you should go to, because a lot of people believe there's no policy. In fact, a lot of people believe that the first answer you gave to my question is really what's going on. That the vice president put something on his Facebook post. Maybe his team thought this was a good thing to do. And having had meetings with the other agencies, they agreed it was a good thing to do. And therefore, there is no overriding policy. So, the fact that you have said you've seen a policy.
A point of information. So, the release that actually came from our division largely has been an extract out of that particular policy.
Wonderful. Do you care to share the policy with the media?
I can't do that because I'm not the owner.
Okay, so who has the energy minister? All right, no problem. Let me come back to your release, which is why I called you. So forgive me for taking round. I'm a bit confused by paragraph 9 and 10 and 11. Paragraph 9 says, I quote, to ensure that the price of petroleum products imported under the G40 program will reflect at the pumps to benefit the consumer, the MPA will regulate the prices of the products in the interim until the volumes increase significantly. I'm confused because the MPA has always denied regulation. Anytime we ask you, why are prices going up and you're not doing anything? So we are operating a deregulated market at the downstream. And therefore, it's a free market. The companies must publish their own whatever price. So why is the MPA now electing to regulate prices of the product in the interim? That's question 1. Question 2, which law is empowering them to do that now that we are operating a deregulated scheme?
Okay, so thank you very much. Let me start with your second question, which law? We obviously have not amended the Act of the National Petroleum Authority as amended in 2015. We still are working with the LI quadruple 4 that talks about the petroleum pricing formula. And so we still are working with that. Regulation, as in your first question, must actually be contextualized here. It is not as though we are going back on what the law has mandated us to do. In this particular instance, so we have 40,000 metric tons that have come in. And the fact 40,000 metric tons have actually been spread across selected BDCs and OMCs. I must put on record that the participation in this particular program is voluntary. It's not compulsory. And the BDCs or OMCs who would have received this particular consignment at the time that they were receiving it might have already in store products that they took at the prevailing market rate. What it means is that then there should be a certain mathematics of how to determine the pricing of putting the supply under the gold for oil and the supply they got from the prevailing market price to arrive at a particular price that would benefit the consumer. And in our attempt to ensure that whatever that is gotten as a relief in the price of the product under the G4O program translates and trickles down to the consumer. In this case, then we ought to come in and take charge of how the whole determination is supposed to be done. We've actually had engagements with the BDCs and OMCs in this particular program under this particular phase because we've not had a complete takeover of the supply under the program. So there ought to be a certain mathematics, and that is where we've agreed with them on a certain weighted average in arriving at the price. So you're going to commingle. How much did you take of the product under the G4O, and then how much did you have in store from the prevailing market price?
And is this calculation being done with the BDCs or the OMCs?
BDCs on the leg of the XREF, and then the OMCs on the leg of the X-Pump. You know, there are two prices involved here. After Boss took delivery of it, Boss sold it to the BDCs, and then it washes hands off. Then the BDC will now have to sell to the OMC. So we have a responsibility in both prices. So it is not as though there is a reintroduction of regulation as it used to be before 2015. But like I said, it is to take care of the peculiar circumstances that we found ourselves in, where the marketers are commingling the product.
Fair enough, but you said that you will do this regulation in the interim until volume increases significantly. Why must the regulation be done only when the volumes are low? Because I'm thinking that the more the volumes come in, that means that the more, think about it, you have done 10%, so 90% of the product on the market is not G4 for G40 or G4O, right?
G4O.
So you are saying that as the 10% increases, you are rather going to stop the regulation. That doesn't make sense, because I'm thinking that more of the oil that you're supposed to be cheaper is coming in, and therefore consumers need more protection, because now a lot of the oil coming in is coming at a cheaper price because you've saved that for exchange rate issue. And yet you are saying you are going to regulate until the volume you are bringing in increases. I don't understand.
Okay, so let me explain again. Like I said, currently they are commingling. Okay, what it means is that they are taking from the G4O and then adding it to what they take from the prevailing market price. So the pricing dynamics is different. When the volume increases, where we have OMCs taking mainly from G4O, for example, we don't need to put our eyes on it because the pricing is clear. Okay, it is because of the non-clarity and the difficulty in arriving at the price because of the insignificant quantities we have now that has actually warranted our monitoring and kind of regulation of how the prices are arrived at. We're hoping that when the product supply increase over time and hopefully takes off the current arrangement, then you are able to tell that this OMC is not selling any other product by G4O. And so the arriving and determination of the price is simple. It's easier. You don't have any difficulty in monitoring. But right now, you need to be able to tell what quantity of supply they have from the prevailing market prices, what quantity they are taking from a BDC under the G4O program, and be able to arrive at the price and monitor so seriously to ensure that the relief that is expected actually gets to the consumer. So the difficulty right now is because of the insignificant nature of the quantity from G4O.
Now,
but obviously, as it increases,
I get that explanation.
Work more easier.
I get that explanation. Now, paragraph 13 again, I need some clarification. So, paragraph 11. I noticed in that paragraph that BOST is selling to BDCs, which you choose to call BDEX, but I'm using BDC because most people know BDCs, and BDCs will sell to OMC, right? Why does BOST need to go through BDCs? Because the consumer buys from OMCs. Is it that BOST doesn't have transportation facility? Because the reason I'm asking this question is that BOST, MPA wants to regulate the price at which BOST sells to BDC, and then BDC price to OMC will also be regulated. So like double. What prevents BOST from simply meeting selected OMCs like GOIL and saying, look, GOIL, you're a government agency, you're a government company, or government has shares in GOIL. We have X percent of finished product to give you. This is the price we are giving it to you. It's lower than the prevailing price that the other BDCs are giving you. And therefore, we don't expect you to raise your price by this level. So if you can explain paragraph 11 again and why we need that chain to be maintained.
Okay, so first of all, it is actually to show respect to the law as we are mandated to really work with. The law says that it is from BDC to OMCs and then to the retail outlets at the pump. And so we do not want to undo that particular process. Secondly, bosses, the BDC is in business. And to cut them out of the chain is really take a section of the business community out of what ordinarily they would have actually been doing. And so the law is clear, and we're trying to respect the law and let it work as it is. The expected supply chain is not just going to be with BOST. There will be international oil trading companies that would soon be coming on board. So they are also expected to play it the same way BOST is doing it. They bring the product to our shores, and then the BDCs picks it from them and sell it to the OMCs, and then OMCs distribute it to the retail outlets. And that is supposed to be the law, and we intend actually to follow it to the letter until it is actually revised.
All right. Finally, so you use the word regulate in paragraph 9, you use the word negotiate in paragraph 10, and then use the word approve in paragraph 11. Am I to take all of those words as regulation?
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. So we have certain responsibilities along the chain that we're supposed to play as National Petroleum Authority. So one, BDC goes out, BOST goes out to buy the product. We ought to ensure that given the intention of the program, BOST is actually able to live up to that. And so if you don't get the prices much cheaper than the prevailing market rate, then obviously you are defeating the purpose of the program right from its inception. And so we are in this particular transaction with BOST, trying to assist BOST in getting prices lower than what is prevailing at the market price. And I can tell you on authority that what BOST took under the G4O program was cheaper than the prevailing market rate. Then the issue about the regulation, like I said, it should be seen within the context. We have a peculiar scenario now where oil marketing companies are supposed to be commingling their product as it were, taking it from two different sources at two different prices. So how do they arrive at the price so that the consumer ultimately gets the benefit of it? That is where we come in again in helping to do the regulation. So we had a meeting with them. They've actually signed an undertaking, and we've all agreed the framework within which we should be selling the product at the pump. Failure to do so would certainly be coming with a certain sanction from our end.
I see.
And like I said from the beginning, it is a voluntary program. Nobody is compelled to come on board. But once you come on board, then you should be acting to the process so that, like I keep repeating myself, the ultimate benefit.
Fair enough. Finally, so we are told, we spoke to Dr. Amin on Friday, and he revealed that 11 out of the 27 OMCs that benefited from the Go for Oil policy did not reduce the price. So, I mean, that right there should tell you that they have a different understanding. They are probably seeing this as a way to build their own margins and make more money. because 11 out of 27 is probably about 40% of the OMCs did not pass on the price reduction to the end user, and you couldn't do anything about that. You didn't say, for example, you're going to blacklist them. You didn't say you're going to exclude them. So whatever windfall we were supposed to get from the first consignment, which was bought with public resources, has gone to these 11 OMCs. So what have you done? You've just made them richer. We didn't benefit in any way.
Oh, well, it is as if I anticipated this your question, and I hinted that we'll actually be sanctioning them. We'll be coming after them because we want to ensure that it really comes down. I've heard people even ask the question whether the effect has started trickling down. And I've cited examples with other media houses that I spoke with this morning of Star Oil and Goil. Star actually posted on their website indicating that prices would have gone up by a certain margin, but for the receipt of the G4O. And then, well, at the beginning of the window, posted the price of diesel at 10.9, and then just yesterday they've revised it to 10.25 after receipt of their consignment of the G4O. So it means that it is trickling. But for now, because the first consignment has to do with just a diesel, we're expecting that going forward we'll be having more consignment of both petrol and diesel. Then we'll be able to see a much more larger and manifest benefit at the pump.
Okay, I'm sure you recognize the potential market distortion likelihood of this policy. Is this an attempt to break the power of BDCs?
Oh, no. In fact, in all of our discussions, they've been central and part in the discussion. And if you speak to them, they will tell you that at all levels of discussion, they've actually been part. And they are going to be coming on board. And like I said, apart from both on this leg of the supply that we have seen of the 40,000 metric tons, the BDCs are also coming on board. The IOTCs are also going to come on board. And so it is not as if it is something that is going to shut the window. I believe that we all are looking at the bigger benefit is going to bring to us first on the front of our forex, to really be able to guarantee the continuous supply of the product and ultimately a cheaper prices of the product at the pump. And so we would not do anything that would take anybody out of business, but we would ensure that everybody comes on board and then people play their games rather that fairly.
Thank you very much, sir. That was Mohamed Abdul Kudus, not to be confused with the Ghana Black Stars footballer. I'm sure he's a distant relation. Mohamed, thank you for talking to us as ever. He's a communication manager for MPA. It's 849 Citi Breakfast Show. So we've spoken to Amin on Friday, got some answers, spoken to MPA on one side. I needed to indicate that there are about 4 or 5 different government agencies involved here. PMMC, there's BOST, there's BOG, there's MPA. We've spoken to MPA. In fact, there's also the ministry, right? So we heard from the ministry and MPA. Now, the BOG appeared in Parliament on Friday to speak to the Public Accounts Committee on a variety of issues, and this matter came up when they appeared before the committee. Dr. Maxwell Pokwafari is a deputy governor, the first deputy governor. Just want you to listen to the questions he was asked and the answers he gave to provide further clarity to this matter.
The word on the streets is that the first consignment of 40,000 metric tons of oil that came under the gold for oil butter deal was paid for with cash using an intermediary. Such a transaction, the Bank of Ghana will be in the know of it, yes or no? And can you confirm if it was paid for in cash?
Honorable Chair, I don't think I have full
Order.
Afishapa. The word on the streets is that the first consignment of 40,000 metric tons of oil that came under the gold for oil barter deal was paid for with cash using an intermediary. Such a transaction, the Bank of Ghana will be in the know of it, yes or no? And can you confirm if it was paid for in cash?
Honorable Chair, I don't think I have full
Order.
Honorable Chair, I do not have the full details of that leg of the transaction with me at the moment. What I know is that the Gold for Oil program has two legs. It has the gold purchase program leg and then the oil leg. The Bank of Ghana is fully involved on the gold purchase side, which then translates into oil. So I may have to go back and check how the oil side was transacted. But what we know is that we have fully paid and bought gold that is enough to support the oil transaction.
This is very reassuring, and I'm excited that you claim ownership of the first leg of the transaction. So since you have ownership of that and knowledge of that, would you be in a position to share with us how many ounces of gold was exchanged for the 40,000 metric tons, and at what price did we buy the gold? World market price or lower than world market price? Again, did we pay cedis or dollars for it? If cedis, at what exchange rate? Thank you.
Honorable Chair, what I can confidently share is the metric tons of gold bought by Bank of Ghana. As I said, we have two legs of the transaction, so I will not go into the exchange transaction. But the gold purchased by Bank of Ghana is not new. We introduced the gold purchase program as part of our building our reserves, and we are using a component of that program to support the gold for oil. So the metric tons of gold purchased by Bank of Ghana, I can share the details with the committee later on when I get back to the office. But what I can also confirm is that the gold is being purchased in local currency, cedis. So it's a conversion of our domestic assets into foreign assets. And then it is being purchased at the world market price. We use the Bloomberg and the Reuters market price to purchase the gold. So those I can confirm. And in terms of the ounces that have been purchased as at now, I'll beg of the committee so that I can supply that data later on, because I do not have that with me now.
I'm excited, and thank you so much. Once you are willing to furnish us, I'm sure that Chairman and the Secretariat would liaise with you to furnish us with that information. But I believe that this purchase program is also in tandem with PMMC, right?
Yes, we're working with PM. There are two different aspects of it. You know, we also engage directly the big mining companies for them to sell part of their gold. The gold they sell to us is monetary gold because it's refined and LBMA certified. So that automatically goes into our reserves. But the one we buy from PMMC, part of it has to go through a refining process through an LBMA certified refinery before it can be part of our reserves. But that part used for the gold for oil, you don't need to go through the refining process.
Yes.
So we work with PMMC and we work directly with the big mining company.
Maybe I just want to avert your mind to the fact that your exchange rate, which you're using, I'm sure you use the Bank of Ghana rate when you're doing these purchases, on your own Twitter feed is somewhere around 10.2 to the US dollar. But PMMC that you are buying through is buying at 13. That's a huge disparity between your rate and what PMMC is buying. So that rate differential, that 3 cedi differential, almost 3 cedi differential, who bears that cost? The taxpayer, the Bank of Ghana? Would you swallow that as your debt? Who bears that cost?
So, Honorable Chair, if I may come back on that, just because it's a public interest question, I also want to give a public interest response. The Bank of Ghana does not have a Bank of Ghana rate as we speak. So what is being tweeted is our indicative rates, our rates, transaction rates collected from commercial banks at the end of the previous day at 3 p.m., weighted average based on the transaction volumes, and then published for the benefit of the general public. The difference you see from the commercial bank is that when you go to your bank this morning, they would have published an indicative rate, but not a transaction rate. But when the city is depreciating, your foreign liabilities exceed your foreign assets, then it's negative on your account.
So that was what they were able to get out of Maxwell Opoku-Afare, the deputy governor. A lot of the questions he says he will have to get back. Look, there's a lot more we need to know on this, right? And it's not even for the purpose of like opposing. It's just to understand it. Because if you are hoping, if this is your main strategy for helping to cushion customers from high fuel prices, there has to be some level of clarity with it. And I mean, I spoke to MPA. Some of the questions I'm supposed to talk to Ministry of Energy. Parliament is asking BOG some of the questions you have to go to. Their part is the PMMC side. So the other part is the BOST and MPA side, which are not. I was thinking the BOG being the most, probably, I don't know, the biggest of the institutions would be at the center of all of this, because our exchange rate issues are BOG issues. And if the exchange rate is what we are going to save, why would the BOG be interested in only the gold purchase part? Because what's the point in just buying the gold? What if the people doing the oil purchase are doing it in the wrong way? Because the whole reason why the BOG is buying the gold directly to show up our reserves is to reduce the FX effect on the export price. And the FX effect on the export price adds to inflationary pressure and puts further pressure on the foreign currency in a self-fulfilling prophecy. So why is the BOG only restricting itself to the gold purchase? Even if they are not going to manage the oil purchase part, they must be interested and knowledgeable about it. And you see, so I'm not sure whether he was interpreting some of Joe's questions to mean I don't know anything about the oil purchase part, or I can't answer questions on it. But if you look at the institutions I've listed, Bank of Ghana, Precious Mineral Marketing Company, MPA, BOST, BOST, the biggest is the BOG. They have the most resources, they have the most economists, the most bankers, the most lawyers. So they have the capacity to oversee the whole process. And Parliament is a house of record. So unless he's saying, I don't have the record, so I don't want to mislead the house, they should be in a for example, the question about the differential in the exchange, I don't really think he answered it. Because if you are told that, yes, there's a difference between the 10, it's okay. So if the 10 is an indicative rate, why do you tweet it? Okay, and if the PMM is going to use 13, who's going to bear that cost? That's just my question. Okay, so I feel there's a lot of lack of clarity on this issue. And I have not seen the policy. Mr. Kudu says he has seen the policy as the Energy Ministry. BOG is now limiting itself to the PMMC part. Now they are differentiating between direct barter and gold that is bought through a broker. You know,
which was not part of the original Facebook post, by the way.
Yeah, and
you know, just before Sky comes in on Friday, Sky asked a very important question that I think you've also brought up. Who are the parties to the contracts? You see, because at the moment, if we've played BOG, you've interviewed MPA, right? We've had PMMC elsewhere
at some level.
We've
even had the Ministry of Lands.
We've had, exactly
at some point.
If there's a policy document, as Mr. Kudus told us there is,
which ministry is the owner of the policy?
Who owns
is it? Ministry of Lands or Ministry
who owns this
of Energy?
You see, and I think Sky will take over from there. But it has become clear why he was asking that question as to who are the parties when this transfer is done on this document. Whose signatures are there? Who are the which entities
are
representing us
in this country?
Now, all these institutions must have the same kind of information.
Yeah.
But listening to the parties, we have a siloed approach.
Yeah.
BOG doesn't have MPA info. MPA doesn't have PMMC info. PMMC don't have Energy Ministry info. So BOG is doing this one. Once BOG is done, MPA does this. Once MPA is done, PMMC does this. For a policy like this, you cannot have that kind of siloed approach. Everybody must be on the same page. Hence the importance of your question. Where is the policy document? Because the policy document would actually outline all these things, merge it, and then we would know that, okay, this perhaps would even have like a joint committee of some kind. So MPA is represented by this, BOG is represented by this, PMMC represented by this person, together as one on this. So even though the roles will be carried out differently, but at the moment you get the feeling that they are still working their way through it.
He says he's seen the policy.
Yeah, I don't mind if he's seen it, it's okay. But the point is, he should not be the only person who has seen it. And we've gone through too many of these fanciful projects that cost a lot of money based on platform promises, Facebook posts, manifestos that within 2 weeks become full-scale national policy without too much thinking through.
To buttress your thing, somebody came to Ghana to do vehicle assembly. That vehicle assembly didn't just happen. There was a 10-point industrial development policy. Okay, so that policy set out the framework and the Ministry of Trade, which then had things like imposing taxes on old vehicles, luxury vehicles, cars of a certain age will attract a certain thing, so that you can give some comfort to the guy coming to do the investment. So when we say where is the policy, it's not like some two-known question. It's actually the basics.
Yes.
Because the laws that you then pull, like for example, the law in Parliament that says you must impose a certain tax on a certain vehicle of a certain age, derives from the industrial policy around vehicle assembly, which was the president, when he went to meet the military guys, was now talking about they're doing bullion vans in Ghana. So there's an overriding policy owned by a ministry. So is it? And I'm not saying one ministry. We can have a joint policy owned by the Ministry of Lands and the Ministry of Energy.
Yes.
Or the ministry, you can call it the Energy Ministry cluster.
Something.
Okay. And in public discourse of such nature, you're talking about protecting consumers ex pump. So this is not some highly technical, esoteric thing you are doing that only people need to know. The guy did the post on Facebook. If it wasn't important to the public, why would he put it on Facebook?
Where everybody will see it.
The first public conversation on this was on the Vice President's Facebook page. Okay, now if it's so important for the public to know, why isn't the policy there for people to scrutinize? Why isn't the policy there for us to all be and show it for me? And again, the parliamentary question comes in. They are saying this is irregular. You asked him about parliament. He explained that. I don't know what Sky thinks about that. I think he was trying to say that it's not an international agreement.
Yes, but
that people are lifting oil regularly. Can you comment on that?
Before Sky comes, just let me wrap this up. You see, because it then comes back to the point that you asked him a very interesting question about the regulation.
Yeah.
So there's a deregulation program, right?
Yeah.
Sky, is that
yes?
Is that in law?
So yes, we have deregulated the petroleum downstream sector.
So there's a law for that.
Yes, that is why the MPA cannot tell anybody how much to sell to you ex.
But now they are saying what you will buy from us,
the G4O.
The G4O, we will tell you how much to,
even though it's voluntary.
It's voluntary. Again, Sky, take over, because I'm beginning to see why on Friday you were very insistent that this thing has to end up in Parliament for everybody to understand.
Because it's become peace. It's become. We are patching it as.
They're doing it for peace.
Yeah.
So some of the information.
It's a good idea, but we need information.
Yeah, that's right. You see, if you look at how policy is formulated generally in Ghana, there are a number of things that come together to give us a policy document. And the 1992 Constitution is the first one. You look at Article 34, Clause 1, which deals with that subject matter, basically saying that it makes provision for the directive principles of state policy, which ordinarily guides the government
in policy formulation.
Exactly. And then you look at Article 86, which also make provision, and 87, which also make provision for the creation of a National Development Planning Commission. So they ordinarily drive the whole policy formulation agenda of the country at that big level. Then you have Article 88, which empowers the Attorney General to look at policies coming up to ensure that they are in alignment with the Constitution and existing laws. So that's why I was asking
what is the Attorney General's opinion on where is it?
Yeah, exactly.
Where is it?
Because if there is an international component to this whole transaction, and some people take the view, and I share that view, that it requires parliamentary approval, as was stated in the Balkan energy case, which led to all kinds of things. Yeah. The question is, why was Parliament not involved? So that was why I was pushing the argument about the Attorney General's involvement, or the apparent lack of it, If there's one document from the Aegis Department, we want to see it. Just like we saw the Aegis opinion on the debt exchange program. We want to see what the Attorney General thinks of this policy.
What did Mohammed Amin say when you asked him about Parliament?
Well, he basically answered in a very generic way to say that, well, the BDC, the bulk oil company, they've been buying oil for whatever, and that since this is also one aspect of buying oil, he doesn't see the need for parliamentary involvement.
But the BOG is the one that buys the gold, and the gold for the gold purchase program is already known. So the point is, BOST going to now use this money that the BOG has gotten to buy finished product and then sell to BDCs is the part that we believe is a transaction.
Exactly.
I.e., the Bank of Ghana uses our CDs to buy gold, right? And that gold that they buy, the proceeds for that gold is what they want to use to do whatever transaction they want to use to. So it's public funds. Now, BOST is the government agency that's supposed to be in storage and transportation of oil.
Yep.
Now, the question I have is, if BOST does storage and transportation, why do you still need BDCs? Because they are bulk, and if you look at the technical term for BDCs, they are bulk oil storage. So they are bulk import, distribution, and export companies. Okay. Now, if BOST has bought the finished product from Dubai or wherever, BOST is also storage and transportation. Why do they need to go through the BDC again? Because BDC also is bulk, distribution, and transportation. Do you get my point? And of course, Kudus was trying to explain that they want to be true to the law and the process. I'm not sure I really get that. So I think there's quite a number of questions that have still not been addressed. Okay, even if you don't have a policy, you could have done a press conference where you say, okay, in the interest of the public, BOG, PMMC, Energy Ministry, Lands Ministry, MPA, BOST. All right? Do a press briefing and jointly address all the issues around oil for gold. So I feel there's a look. I will say it's opaque. There's opacity with this because you are, and they are sort of making things as they go.
Yeah,
that's how I see it. It's like as the questions come, they try and address the question, and then they sort of, and that's not how to do something as important and sensitive as this.
That's not how policy is supposed to be formulated. And if I take you to a document by the National Development Planning Commission, some of these issues are raised there. And Bernard, the reason why it is a matter we should be concerned about is that when eventually things go south, the question will be, and they normally do in matters like this, the people of Ghana will be asked to pay the bill. Now, in so doing, then issues will come up as to who is to be held responsible. Yes, the first time we got to know about this thing was when the vice president posted on his Facebook poll a new policy direction for the country. And it was announced by Facebook.
A program, not a policy.
Okay. Well, there are that point.
You are a lawyer, so you know there's between a program and a policy and a law. Okay. So the policy sits on top. The law derives from that.
So what are we dealing with? That is it a program or a
policy? It's a program. Yes, that's what you see. Food presidents go for oil program. So they are very careful in their choice of words. So and in fact, let me even do the architecture for you. So there's policy, there's program, and then there's project. So a project is smaller than a program. So a project is within a program. A program is within a policy, and they are all governed by law.
You see, so that was the first time we heard about it. But ultimately, we are committing the resources of our country, and the resources of our country, the natural resources of our country. We say the president, per the Constitution, is supposed to protect them for and on our behalf. You understand? So he takes possession of the wealth, the mineral wealth of our country, and he's supposed to ensure that they are used in a way that benefits all of us. So if the government says that, yes, we are rich in gold, so we'll use that to get oil or fuel for our country, it is a good thing. But the question is, how do you do it in a way that is efficient and that returns the best possible returns for the good people of Ghana? And then also, how do you cut out possible corruption or theft of our public resources? And that is the suspicion of so many people. That's why the Constitution insists that on matters like this, if it is international transaction, Article 181 of the Constitution, if you read it together with the Balkan Energy case, it requires you to go to Parliament and seek their input and their authority to proceed. Now, for some reason, we are being told that Parliament is not to get involved because, in their view, there's no requirement to go to Parliament because of the nature of how bulk oil, what do you call it? The what's the name of the company? Bost purchases his oil, and then also because they attend what do you call it? The Bank of Ghana has been purchasing gold for whatever, and does not need parliamentary approval. I disagree because you have a situation where, first of all, we don't know the parties to the transaction. It is all over the place.
It's Bost and people in Middle East.
Who are the people in
the Middle East?
They are oil traders.
You see, and then also the requirement on how we identify people to work for the government of Ghana, which is through procurement. We don't know whether the procurement authority got involved in approving which institutions from outside the country should supply the oil. Did they bid for it? What were the terms and of reference given to them?
Did you get the oil at the best possible price?
Exactly. So these are critical questions that can only be distilled properly when they go before Parliament. Because if we lose resources, as you were asking the question, Amin Anta told us that yes, some people were given the oil and yet they did not return.
11 out of 27 companies did not pass on the supposed lower cost of purchase to the end user.
If it had gone through Parliament, there is no way they will be able to do that.
And he says that they are going to sanction them. And how that sanction will benefit the consumer, I don't know.
We don't know.
So if I bought petrol from them last week and I didn't get the windfall, how will they share the sanction and we go and collect our cheat to get the balance?
And you see, our law say that you cannot be punishing somebody when the prescription for the same is not written in the law. So the question is, what sanction is he going to apply?
When you say you've deregulated the industry,
yes,
you've regulated the industry, but the Bost oil there, you have deregulated it.
Yes, so
the whole thing is.
So look, tomorrow Parliament is reconvening. I would urge the Honourable Samuel George or Atu Forsen.
Who is the ranking member on that committee, Seth?
Which of them?
Is
Energy Jinapo. I will urge whoever, they can do it. They can sponsor it from the Finance Committee and then also the Energy Committee. And perhaps Okuje too would also get involved because of the foreign affairs nature of the whole transaction. So that they can put a question on the floor or insist or even move a motion to that effect, seeking clarity as to what exactly is happening. Because we cannot be here. We are dealing with millions of dollars, because one consignment alone is $40 million.
And they are bringing in more.
Yes. Multiply that by what will happen over the next. Because if you look at...
We want to get to 50%.
Yeah, 50%. And we are told that monthly consumption is what? $350 million. That's how much fuel we import into the country. Now, if you have that, what are you getting? Around $175 million. That's what they are aiming for every month. Multiply that by 12. We are talking about billions of US dollars. And we are expressing fears about how people are making money, not passing it on to the consumer. So
and
these are...
The other thing that this raises, which I think is it's almost tangential, but I want to bring it in. You know, Ghana, for like 2018, 2019, the biggest conversation in Ghana was bauxite for infrastructure, which is also a barter deal, which was supposed to be Chinese providing roads, Chinese building bridges, and then we would give them proceeds from bauxite.
Yeah.
As we speak, we don't know if any bauxite has been mined, not much less even sold.
The vehicle for it.
We don't know whether the proceeds are there. And now that we are told that you can either do it either through direct barter or through broker, I don't know whether the bauxite for infrastructure also come through direct infrastructure or through some barter, whatever. So I'm just saying that this is a very good example of a barter deal that has to be properly structured, because there are other barter deals that we have seen which may also then learn from this one. And I don't think this is the best way to set off if you are going to do something as intricate and important as this. So I'm appealing to the leading ministries, the Energy Ministry and the Ministry of Lands, to provide more clarity and share the document, the policy document on this, so that we will all be at peace as to where this is headed. And then we can also then ask our question. And then those of us who are unable who have to explain whatever is going on will also do that. Failing that, I'm just going to read a few quick comments quickly. I believe there are a couple of questions around this issue.
Okay, CBCBS, it'll be important to know which company bought the gold and at what rate. Okay.
And that was something that was also interesting, Bernard. The question about the revelation about how this company is taking up the cost of movement and storage at no extra charge or nothing
for that Christmas.
All right. More messages are coming in. How will the G4 program ensure equitable distribution to Bidex and not seem to distort the market? The USD inflows from gold purchase and resale program could be made available to the BDCs at FX rate, same as would be for the G4O cargo. This will reduce prices in general at the pump. Okay. Bernard, I can promise you that fuel prices will not go down anytime soon because of this oil for gold deal. My reasons. 1, government may succeed in reducing demand for Forex, which I doubt. 2, we are entering Chinese New Year, which requires more fuel, particularly petrol. So world demand goes up and prices will go up as well. 3, right after Chinese New Year, we'll start another driving season in Europe and the USA. So I wonder how government can bring down fuel prices, since even with the Go for Oil deal, they're exchanging value for value. This is Kwesiakwa from Sakumono. Okay.
I was running some numbers comparing our gold exports to our cocoa exports and our oil imports. And I just feel that there's a lot of public discourse that needs to have gone into this discussion. So, for example, gold is a store of value, right? So one of the reasons, of course, the US doesn't use a gold standard anymore, but one of the things gold does is that because the value of gold can appreciate, people use that to back their currencies.
Certain.
The gold standard is no longer there. All right.
The Americans removed it.
Yes, but I'm still saying that for Ghana, gold is still a big store of value.
Yes.
But the Russians and then the Chinese are now going that way.
So is this also not front-loading your immediate problems? Right? Because we already have a difficult fiscal situation and we are managing it. We are paying for the petroleum anyway. So if you are even buying gold reserves, why are you using the gold now to buy oil? Why can't you store that gold for future use, where in the future you are in high levels of debt? So whatever windfall, I'm not saying we're doing the windfall, whatever windfall you are supposedly, and we're not even getting the windfall, that's a problem. Because at least in the first 40,000 tons, 40% of the companies did not pass the price on to us. You are using scarce gold to buy this finished product, and the BDCs, so the OMCs are not passing this on to us.
So that is why we are interested in who is buying the gold,
so
at what rate, and why is that person, taking up the cost associated with movement and storage. Because once you are able to answer that question, then you pull the veil on who exactly are the people behind the whole transaction. Because it is not possible to say, gold is a very precious thing. You keep it for years, you retain value. Of course, there are times where the value goes down because of prevailing market prices. But the traditional approach has always been that store it will return some value in big way. So if this person who is buying the gold, we don't know the person, someone is hiding somewhere buying the gold, has a lot of dollars. Where is he even getting the forex from? Some people are speculating that, they may be getting the forex from the Bank of Ghana because they are selling it to people to do it. Imagine that is the situation. So the Bank of Ghana has the gold and is supplying the forex to whoever is buying the forex, and that person uses that forex to buy the gold and then keeps the gold or uses the money
this is Boston, some people.
No, they've not told us who is buying the what do you call it? The dollars. No, not the dollars, the gold. That we want to know. We don't know the company. So who is this person who is Father Christmas as to buy the gold at whatever?
Carry it for free.
For free.
Store it for free.
For free. Unless there's something inside.
We'll take a break here. We'll come back with more. This is Citi Breakfast Show. Stay with us.
Unleashing the power of relevant radio. This is Citi 97.3.
They are supporting what they are doing this year. What's the focus for 2023? How EU got in right. Some of their key issues: trade, human rights, security, and all those nice things. And when we are done, he will ask the question. So he will ask the question. You call in. This time is a call-in issue. He will announce that you call in, and then you answer. If he agrees with your answer, he will give you the ticket. If he doesn't like your answer, he will say, "Charlie, the next caller." So today, it's not me, it's him. So if you don't get a ticket, you blame His Excellency. So we're coming to that in a second. Could you just give me 2 quick announcements before we do that?
Well, speaking of traveling, let's tell you about your next adventure and how you can plan it. So it's not just the destination, it's how you get there. And one of the best bits about holidays is the food, right? Yeah. So wouldn't it be great if you could get a taste of your destination before you even arrive? On Emirates, you can dine on gourmet meals inspired by regional cuisine. And what better way to toast the start of your holiday than with your choice of free-flowing drinks. And of course, you can expect world-class service along every step of your journey from Emirates' award-winning cabin crew. So wherever you decide to fly better on Emirates. You get so much more in Emirates economy. Find out more at emirates.com. And Provident Insurance is 40 years old and they welcome you to a new year. Remember to insure your new car or renew your existing motor insurance policy from now till the 31st of March. And you get a free gift such as fuel coupons and several other branded Provident souvenirs. So rush for your insurance cover now. And remember, with Provident,
man, you are covered.
It's a holiday, but we still
Let's talk about Askia Immigration.
Yes, indeed.
Canada.
Now, Askia Immigration Consulting Services is committed to being your source of information, your personal advisor, and your authorized representative in all your immigration matters for Canada. Our consolidated and personal information approach provides the support you need to make the right decision for you and your family. Whatever your needs are, or to know more about Canada immigration, contact Askia Immigration Consulting Services to help you discover everything you need to know about Canada. It's a regulated firm and is located at 1 Airport Square, Airport City, Accra, near the Holiday Inn Hotel. Go to askiaimmigration.com for a free consultation. You can also call 0506 012 289 or follow us on social media, Facebook and Instagram. It's at Askia Immigration, and on Twitter it's at Askia Immigrate. Askia Immigration Consulting Services, the joy of greatness for your journey to Canada.
And when you hear this song, you know what we're talking about.
Brody, Messi, I boy, dear, what's it? Ma winning, Tinton, yeah, no one's I ever done it. Baby's on some I ever done it. To what the papa to put to manto. You pimpi, now if you got us to talk upon to la tememo, yeah, papi, oh, the morning doesn't hear me, oh, no, my baby.
Citi Breakfast Show. Now, one of the things we're excited about this year is the Heritage Caravan, and it's officially sold out. It got sold out 2 weeks ago, and it's from the 4th to the 11th of March. We travel around the country. I've been on the caravan twice, and it's such an amazing experience. Traveling through your own country on a bus, just admiring nature, meeting people, visiting tourist centers, eating food, drumming, dancing, jumping. And this year, we have on the train a number of big sponsors. The EU, they promised us last year they will be on big time this time, because last year they supported the Back to the Village Food Bazaar, and they've made good their promise. They are like big on the caravan, you know. And so this morning, the ambassador is here to talk about EU, but also to give a seat on the bus for free.
Free of charge.
Hey!
This is unprecedented.
Let me just be sure that it's true before I even enter it. So, Your Excellency, Ikad Razali, you are welcome to the show. Good morning.
How are you, Bernard?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm fine.
Is it true you are given a free ticket? So that we know
it looks incredible.
It's amazing.
It looks too good to be true.
Because even we who organize have never given a free ticket.
No, last year you almost challenged me.
All right.
Are you able to make it? Are you able to support this initiative, etc., etc.?
Yeah.
So last year we came a bit late, and we chose the food bazaar.
Yes.
I will not say as a fallback plan because this was incredible, but it was, I would say, we were short of.
Okay.
So we were happy to engage already with the incredible Ghana gastronomy. I discovered a lot.
A lot of food. I saw you tasting different things. On the day.
Contomere is my favorite.
Contomere.
Yes, it changes all the time. So now I'm very much into contomere.
I like that. I like you pronounce it contomere. You know, you are eating good things. All right. So before we come to contemporary and culture and everything else, so let's talk about the state of play, EU and Ghana. Where are we? What are we up to?
Yeah, but before that,
Okay.
I have to confirm it's
Okay.
true.
It's
we are
true.
supporting the Heritage Caravan, and I confirm we will be giving away one ticket.
Wonderful. All right. So let's talk about the state of play of EU in Ghana. Where are we in our relations?
The relations are growing bigger and bigger. It's getting deeper and deeper, and we have had a tremendous year 2022. We had a number of high-level visits. You know, high-level visits are always a good indication of how well the relations are performing. So we had the visit of the commissioner in charge of international partnerships. She had a tremendous time here because we have officially launched. I know it looks a bit, technical or barbaric, but we have launched a so-called framework document, which frames the future relations when it comes to cooperation between Ghana and the EU for 2021-2024.
Okay.
With an envelope of a bit more than 200 million euro grants. But more importantly and more interestingly, she visited the facilities we will support in terms of vaccine, because there is a very important partnership between the European Union and Ghana to make this country one of the very few countries in Africa which will produce its own vaccines for COVID and, of course, beyond COVID, because COVID, of course, I hope it will be passing sometime soon, but there are other diseases which needs to be attended.
Wow.
She had huge interaction with youth and entrepreneurs because we wanted to help them showcase their, achievements when it comes to engineer things, to process things in agriculture, in recycling, etc. The other high-level visit that we had is the top visit, what you can imagine. It's the president of the European Council who visited Ghana.
Yeah.
So who is the man? The man is Mr. Charles Michel, and he chairs what we call the Council of Head of State, European Council. So basically, he's the chair of the European presidents and prime ministers.
Is that the most powerful arm of the EU?
It's the highest office.
The highest office.
It's the highest
This guy
office.
is the chair.
Yes, exactly. And he visited Ghana. He chose Ghana specifically because this links to the other topic. The country organized, with our support, the first ever summit of the Accra Initiative.
Yes.
Have you heard about it?
We heard of the Accra Initiative.
So it's an initiative taken by the neighboring country, Ghana and its neighboring country, to prevent possible spillover of terrorist activities in their soil. Very, very important. And this is something we care about and we support very much. And the president of the European Council wanted to demonstrate this support. And that was a good opportunity as well for visiting Ghana. This is something he wanted to
So
do.
it seems to me Ghana is becoming very important within Sahel, West Africa, to global cooperation. The fact that Ghana was chosen, in fact, the fact that they even call it the Accra Initiative, the location of the country and subsequent developments within Burkina Faso, Mali, clearly puts Ghana at the center, looking at the way our democracy works. So I think Ghana's importance is you can't overstate it.
Ghana was always important since 57, I would say. But yes, I think it's you make an accurate depiction of the reason why this country becomes more and more pivotal. This is the way I would describe it. More pivotal in West Africa. You remember President Akufo-Addo chaired ECOWAS for 2 years, which was unheard of because usually you have a mandate for 1 year, but he has been asked to stay on, and he championed democracy and stability in the region. Ghana is now sitting in the UN Security Council, which makes it a very important partner for international security matters. And you have seen the stance and the work that Ghana have made to condemn the Russian invasion of Ukraine, for example. And as you say, in the sub-region, in West Africa, Ghana is playing a key role as well of stability, of safeguarding democracy, so on and so forth. So.
I'll come to the culture and heritage issues later, but since we are here, how does what you've said translate into your priorities for Ghana for the next 4 or 5 years? Obviously, security is one of them, right?
Yes,
what else is a key issue for the EU in Ghana in the next maybe 4 or 5 years?
The key issue, these are shared priorities. I insist. It's not EU's agenda.
Obviously,
we are negotiating the areas, and basically we agreed on, I would say, very important but not so surprising priorities. Priority number one is job and growth. So we want to find ways, together with the Ghanaian government, to support job creation for you, women, for everyone in Ghana, and to make it as sustainable as possible, because sustainability is a key issue across the globe. So this is priority number one. Priority number two is to make urbanization making more sense. This is what we call smart and sustainable cities, because urbanization sometimes in Africa tends to be a bit chaotic, and this is where you can score points. And the third area of shared priority, you name it, is security and good governance, regional security as well. So these are...
So job and growth, urbanization. I like the fact that urbanization must make sense. And then security and good governance as the top three. But I also noticed that culture and heritage is an important part of... In that, when you came here for your interview first, I think you were very interested in that. And it's very clear from even your sponsorship of some of the things. Why is culture and heritage an important part of what the EU does in Ghana?
Culture is a key driver for change. It can change your mindset, it can change your approach, the way you see things when it comes to, for example, your relation to sustainability, your relation to job, your relation to growth creation, so on and so forth. This is one side. But secondly, we want it to support and highlight heritage because this is a key factor of cohesiveness. People from the south should know better what's happening in the north, in the west, in the east, so on and so forth. But beyond that, something we are very interested in is the commonalities between Ghana and neighboring countries. Sometimes you get surprised with the lack of knowledge between neighboring countries. And when you will travel in the northern part of Togo or Benin, you will see things which are very similar to what you will see in Ghana. Larabanga Mosque, they have small Larabangas in Côte d'Ivoire. And this tells something. It tells that humankind is one. And I think culture and heritage is a testimony to that. And this is a key driver for cohesiveness in the country, but with your neighbors. And of course, heritage enriches you,
Wonderful. Okay. Now, the phone number to call, I'm going to announce shortly, but I just wanted to know what your activities were for the year. So, yes, we know the priority areas, jobs and growth, urbanization, security and good governance. We know human rights is also important to EU, other multilateral issues. But any specific activities or programs that we should know about and put on our calendar for the year?
For the year, we will roll out the priority identified and formally launched last year. So basically, you will hear more and more of us in terms of opening, launching, shortcutting of the project that we have been speaking about in job and growth. Agriculture is a key in the taking for the European Union in Ghana, because this is where you can create a lot of jobs in a lot of areas of the country, especially for women and youth. And you will hear from us as well in terms of, once again, reinforcing our commitment and support for stability, human rights, so on and so forth. Yeah.
Wonderful. We're speaking to Ihad Razali, who's the EU ambassador in Ghana. And as he said, he has a ticket to give out for the Heritage Caravan. The number to call is 0302 224959. That's the phone number, 0302 224959. You call us and tell us where you're calling from, and then I will hand you over to him, and he will ask you the question. If you answer it in a satisfactory manner, Sky, do you have any question for me to see if you can give me a free ticket? if you were the quiz master, what would you have asked me?
Oh yeah, I would have asked you a very simple question.
Which question?
Okay, so let me ask you this question.
Mind you, these are not the questions that will be asked. The question to be asked will be asked by the ambassador. This is Richard Sky trying to test my knowledge of EU. Mind you, Richard Sky, when he did law, he was the best student in European law.
Yeah.
Wow.
At the University of Birmingham. Yeah, he got the prize.
Buckingham.
I'm a trained lawyer myself.
Oh, that's good. I think you should congratulate me. Congratulations. Congratulations.
He left Ghana to go and study EU law, and he was the best student in EU law.
Yeah.
How did you get interested in EU law?
Well, I mean, it's one of the requirements you do when you are doing law in the United Kingdom. Because, I mean, the United Kingdom until 2021.
We didn't think of Brexit.
They were key parts of
Hold on, let me announce the line again. So 0302 224959, 0302 226013, 0302 226013, and also 0302 973 736. If you want to answer, it's a very simple question. If you want a free ticket to Heritage Caravan, yeah. So you went to study EU law in England.
In England, yeah.
After Brexit.
Yeah, that's right. Even after
Brexit. The irony of irony.
Yeah, they are still very much interested in the European Union because that's the biggest.
I'm sure they want to go back. Will you accept them when they come back?
Everything is possible.
I like that diplomatic answer. Where's the headquarters of the EU?
Oh, Brussels.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I used to do what you know. I'm not bad.
Correct.
You can ask me another one.
Okay, so which countries are the founding countries of the European Union?
There's obviously France. There's obviously Germany. No, these are my questions, not your questions. France and Germany, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know about others.
So you have Italy, Luxembourg, and the Netherlands.
Vida is on the line.
Yep.
Vida is on the line. Ambassador, good morning. Talk to Vida.
How are you, Vida?
Hello, Ambassador.
How are you doing today?
Fine, thank you. And you?
I'm fine. I'm delighted. I'm always delighted when I'm on Citi FM.
Yeah, good to know.
Are you ready to answer the question?
Okay.
So the question is the following. The question which can get you a free ticket to join the Heritage Caravan.
Yes.
And maybe meet with me because I will join the caravan myself.
Wow. Yes, I can do it.
So the question is the following. What are the three most visited cities for tourist purposes? The three most visited cities in Europe last year.
And
you have one attempt too.
Really?
Yes, if you get it wrong, somebody else will call. The three most visited cities in Europe.
Honestly, I have no idea.
Know. Let's try the next one. Let's try the next person. Who is on the line? Hello? Let's just go through. Hello? Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Yeah, what's your name, please?
My name is Emmanuel.
Okay, so it's the same question, right?
So, Emmanuel, the same question. Name the three most visited cities in Europe in 2022.
Three most visited cities in Europe 2022.
Yes, correct.
That would be...
Stop Googling. You have only 30 seconds to answer. Please hurry up.
No, he doesn't have
Charlie, you don't have the answer.
You don't have the answer.
Let's move to the next person. Charlie, you are, please, this person, the way that is going. Is this still there? It's gone.
No, somebody else.
Yes, are you there? Okay, hold on. Yes.
Paris, Amsterdam, and then Madrid.
All right, I think he got it.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct.
What's your name? So what's the name? What's the name?
Repeat.
My name is Emmanuel Okanja.
Can you repeat the answer?
Paris, Amsterdam, and then Madrid.
Which countries are these towns in?
Which countries are these towns in?
Yes.
Oh, Bernard, I'm
just asking. I want to know you're not a robot.
Yeah, in France.
Amsterdam
so Paris is in France. Amsterdam is Netherlands, and then
Spain, Madrid.
I see. So tell me about yourself. What's your name and what do you do?
Okay, so I'm Emmanuel Okanja. I work with Vision Funds Ghana. I see at Denza.
Mission Funds Ghana.
Yes, please.
Okay, we will talk to you later. But wear you EU t-shirt too.
Oh, that's
you
fine.
wear EU pants, everything EU. You paint yourself in EU colors to go and do the.
That's right.
And you meet all of us. So we'll take your details. We'll talk to you later. Thank you for calling.
Thank you. Well done.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. Thank you. Ambassador will be on TV on Friday with another seat for free. Citi TV.
Yes.
So,
correct.
but it's a different question.
It's a different
question. Thank you for being on the show. Always good to have you.
Thank you, Bernard.
My pleasure.
Brody, yeah. Messi ya boy dear what? Zika so gumano. Umi adrome weba.
All right, now let's get straight into the next segment. Skuku is going to host the segment because she was a pronouncer. You know, in the spelling bee thing, the way you even mention the word is very important. And we're going to have the winners for this year's spelling bee in-house. We're speaking to Kukui Hansen shortly. Stay with us.
This is the Citi Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
1xBet. Easy betting, easy winnings. 1xBet, the most reliable service to make deposits easily with high odds and numerous bonuses on the spot. Register now at 1xBet.com.gh. Use promo code BESTODDSGH to get 300% bonus up to 3,445 Ghana cedis on your first deposit. Easy to use, easy to have a chance to win. 1xBet, reliable bookmaker. Gambling can be addictive. Bet responsibly. Not for person under 18 years. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the Gaming Commission.
Man, I've just been busy these last few weeks. My company has asked me to attend this conference in Canada, scheduled for December of 2022. I submitted my application in March, but I've still not heard back from the immigration office. I don't know where to start. Time is ticking. If only there was someone to check in on my business visa status on my behalf.
If you retain our services at Askia Immigration Consulting Services, we can follow up to ensure the status and quick delivery of your visa application. No matter how busy you are, you can count on Askia Immigration Consulting Services. Contact Askia Immigration Services on 0241 318890 or 0595 449054 to book appointments and to get assessment of documents. Askia Immigration Services on the 8th floor of the number 1 Airport Square building, Airport City.
I'll take you there.
adventure. So remember, it's not just the destination, it's how you get there. One of the best bits about holidays is the food. So wouldn't it be great if you could get a taste of your destination before you even arrive? On Emirates, you can dine on gourmet meals inspired by regional cuisine. And what better way to toast the start of your holiday than with your choice of free-flowing drinks? And of course, you can expect world-class service along every step of your journey from Emirates' award-winning cabin crew. So wherever you decide to fly better on Emirates. You get so much more in Emirates economy. Find out more at emirates.com.
Got to think when your feet is the gathering of champions.
And I'm here in the studio with 5 brilliant and beautiful young ladies. And no, they are not a girl group or a girl band. They are the winners, or the winning team, should we say, of the 2023 Spelling Bee. And again, as I said, this is so exciting, and you'll find out why for so many reasons. All right. Now, we'll start with first, second, and third place. And with first place, there's something really, really special. So I think I need to reserve her for last, right? But let's take the top 3 for now. Janice, Ifiba, and Kitsia. Janice, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm great.
Welcome to City CBS. Now, Michelle Kuma is with Soul Clinic International School, I think. Michelle, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Hi, Michelle. And then in first place, and the returning champion, Nadum Dakwasari, who goes to DPS International School. Hi, Nadum. Welcome back.
Hi, it's good to be here.
Good to see you as champion again. Congratulations on retaining your trophy. We're very, very proud and excited for you. And then we'll get to know a lot more about the journey. Now, for our 4th and 5th young ladies here, they'll introduce themselves, and then we'll find out a lot more about why there are 5 of them and what's going to be happening next. Okay, so let's start with 4th place. Okay.
My name is Ruth Obin Davis. I'm 11 years old and I go to the Oyster Academy.
Fantastic, Ruth. Okay, and 5th.
My name is Petra Serpong and I'm 12 years old and I go to the McCarthy Hill School.
Okay, now Petra, you're also a familiar face at the Spelling Bee. So I'm just going to go around and ask each of you how many times you've participated in the Bee. Okay, how many times, if this is your first time, your second, your third, your fourth, just let us know. So Petra, let's start with you.
This would be my 4th time.
4th time participating, right?
Yes.
Okay, now remind us of where you go to school, what year you're in, how old you are, and in what town or city your school is.
I go to the McCarthy Hill School and I'm in year 7 and I'm 12. I used to be homeschooled, but yeah, I go to school now.
Fantastic. I remember that from last year, actually, that you were the contestant who was homeschooled, and now you've just started actually going to a school, right?
Yes.
Okay, we'll talk to you about that later, what it's like now being in school. But you're back here as a top winner in the Spelling Bee. So well done. Well done. Okay, now Ruth, tell us a bit about yourself as well. The school you attend, what city your school is in, how old you are, what year you are in school, and how many times you've done the Bee.
I'm 11 years old. I'm in year 7. I go to the Oyster Academy, which is in Tema, and I've done the Bee 3 times. This is my 3rd year.
Okay, nice. So 4th time, McCarthy Hill, 3rd time, Tema. Okay, all right.
My name is Janice.
Yes, Janice.
And this is my first time. My
First
school
time?
is St. Francis of Assisi in Nadi Takrady. And I am in year 7.
Okay, so you're a first timer and you placed 3rd on your first try, and you're representing Takoradi. I'm sure they're jubilating and very excited right now.
Yes.
Okay, now Michelle.
Hello, I'm Michelle. I'm in grade 8 in Soul Clinic International School in Cantonment. This is my 2nd time in the Bee.
Very good. Very good. Well done. And of course, Nadum.
My name is Nadum Dakwasari. I am 11 years old. I am in year 6 in DPS International School, and this is my 4th time.
4th time and 2nd time winning this, which is such an amazing feat. Okay, now let's talk about the process. Let's talk about Saturday and everything that happened on Saturday. It was a long day, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what time did your day start? Okay, let's just have a girl chat. Okay, and yes, let's point out that all 5 of these individuals, once again, are young ladies. This is fantastic. And I remember Eugenia asked me on TV last week when we were interviewed. She said, "Oh, do I think a boy is going to win or a girl?" And I didn't answer actually. I think we said, "Oh, a boy or a girl will win." But to see 5 of you here, all girls, this is amazing. Nothing against the boys. I have 3 sons. I understand, it's great. But I'm very, very proud of all of you. Okay, so Saturday, what was it like? How early did you start?
So I came to the hall at 7
a.m.
in the morning, and I spelled my words. My words were